It's Monday. I'm Lawrence Prezman, the Prez. I got a COVID beard going, a hat. I look like crap, but I got Rob Veno with us, one of my favorite people on the planet, found in Pennsylvania, which we'll talk about. Rob, welcome to Meet the Experts. How is your Monday going?
It's going good, Prez. We were under the little bit of a tornado watch for a while here this morning, but it looks like that end of it might have cleared through. Obviously, a lot of rain here the last couple of days and wind, but otherwise, just in the bunker here like everybody else and working hard on what's ahead of us, which for me has been college football. So nothing to complain about. Family here, get to do a lot with my kids that I wouldn't be able to do under normal circumstances. So it's all good.
He's Rob Veno. You can find him at sportsmemo.com. And Rob does a college football betting preview show every Tuesday with Ralph Michaels and Drew Martin. Tomorrow, what's on the card?
Tomorrow, we're going to be taking a look at the staff changes and what differences it might make in three teams, which are Florida Atlantic, Florida State, and I believe Fresno State, Prez, the three Fs, some major coaching changes and some major switches going on in those places. So we're trying to help guide everybody a little bit earlier than we normally would in college football and just give you an outlook on what we're seeing here, a little more in depth than we might normally be able to get to in August.
Yeah, Rob, so I don't know if you're watching the comments. You can pull up the show on YouTube and see the comments coming in live. We've got this weird guy that works for us named Chris. Every day, Chris puts up that he's been waiting all week for this particular show. So when he does say that, it's not true. Don't feel good about yourself because he has not been waiting all week for you or this show.
Yeah, there's times when my wife hasn't been waiting for me, Prez, so that's okay.
I would say those are more often than not.
Oh, boy.
So how are you and your wife making out? Okay, that's a bit of a pun, but it's either baby making time, divorce time, or getting through it time. Which one are you?
Yeah, I mean, of those three choices, getting through it time is the best way to describe it. On Thursday of this week, April the 16th, we will indoors, obviously, in our own home, have to celebrate our 32nd wedding anniversary since 1988, married to the same woman. So it's been a real good ride for me, Prez. We don't, those first two choices wouldn't describe what it's been like for myself and my wife.
Okay, well, we should get your wife on. Bring your wife into this show, Rob. Okay, I'm kidding.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think she's currently on a conference call. We have multiple conference calls going on in this house at the same time, Perez. My kids are adult kids, and my oldest is in a band. I think they're on a call right now, and one of the band's, the lead singer's girlfriend is staying with us, and she's on a conference call right now. So we got a lot of people at work at this house.
I want to welcome Kane and Laguna to the show. Thank you, guys. You're always around, and it feels good always seeing familiar names. I can't wait till September when we have 500, 1,000 people logging on live to these shows. But you can be rest assured, guys like Kane and Elliot and Superman and Laguna and just the guys that have been with us throughout this time period, you'll always be first mention on a show that the Prez is doing. Rob, we're going to talk sports. We're going to talk sports betting. But, I like to keep these shows light and fluffy. What are you binge watching these days?
I think the same as everybody else, Prez. No, it's more of Ozark and Tiger King, right? I mean, I'm on what everybody else in the country is on right now. We'll be tuned into TMZ's hour special on Joe Exotic and his.
Night. It was a complete and utter waste of time. I wouldn't spend 1 second on it.
Well, then maybe we'll switch course and go somewhere else. But that's where we're at. We're where everybody else is at on Netflix. I thought Ozark was pretty good.
I quit after episode
I watched
7 in season 1. Hey, Brian, what an amazing post, dude. So appreciated. And you're right. WagerTalk puts in the work regardless of no sports. And sorry to interrupt, Rob, and we'll get back to the TV stuff, but you guys have no idea. I mean, Brian, you cannot imagine. Me, Rick, and Johnny and some of the customer service team had a 12 o'clock call today where we were just outlining our project list. We have about 30 projects on the go. So it's not only the shows. I mean, we're working every day. And we actually find that we're getting, this breathing room, although we obviously need sports and specifically need the revenue, we're actually found that this breathing room has given us a little bit of a chance to get caught up and to, just lay a better foundation down. When you get so busy, I mean, our websites just are terrible. We've got new websites coming. We got an odds service coming. We've got a whole different customer service program coming, different promotions. I'm actually spending this week going through about 150 applications for people who want to join either of our sites as handicappers. We're working on SEO programs, and a huge shout out to Johnny Detroit and his team in Detroit, because those guys are working a hell of a lot harder than I am. So yeah, we are just nonstop right now. So Rob, back to Ozark. I quit after episode 7, season 1. I found it very slow. I mean, they stole money from the mob and or the cartel or whoever, then they disappear to the Ozarks, and then nothing happens for 7 episodes. And I'm like, oh my God, am I going to get bogged down in another one of these Breaking Bad shows that, ultimately have a good ending, a decent character arc, and a good storyline, but are about 40 episodes too long? I felt Breaking Bad could have been condensed to 10 phenomenal episodes, and it ended up being 56. I just didn't want to find myself in the same situation with Ozark, where everything takes, 5 minutes of movement takes 3 damn episodes.
Yeah, how about Billions, Prez? Are you a fan of Billions?
I watched every Billions season and loved it, except I only got through half of season 4. I quit on that too, and I quit on shows, dude. I binge watched The Capture this week. It's on Amazon Prime. It was 8 episodes long and very much worth the watch. A show that, by the way, on Rotten Tomatoes is rated a 100%. I don't know if I'd rate it 100%. It did have its issues. The only show I would rate 100% is Banshee. But I thought The Capture was a good show, and we're gonna start Hannah today, which is another show on Amazon Prime. I see Carmine Bianco just joined us, and guys, a shout out to Carm. He made like 4 or 5, 10, whatever, like just massive trays of lasagna, and he made one for me. I ate the entire thing. I'm not even kidding. Rob, it was like a proper tray, dude. Like it was like 12 pieces of lasagna. I ate them in 2 days. The best lasagna I've ever had in my life. And for all you guys out there, Carm is going to be putting the lasagna cooking class that he is doing up on WagerTalk.com. There's 2 current videos there now. The last one on almond cookies. So make sure to check out Carm's cooking video. You want to know what WagerTalk does? We do cooking videos. We even do stock market tips. Speaking of which, Rob, are you buying? Are you selling? Are you holding?
I think we're in a holding pattern, Prez, over here. This stuff all has tendency to come back. So if you have the wherewithal to hang in there, you hang in there and wait for everything to come back and turn around. So that's where we're at right now. Not buying, not selling. I'm not much of a day trader anyway.
I tried it. I tried day trading 2 years ago. I lost $20,000 in a week and called it a day. It was an absolute disaster. Carm just mentioned his lasagna video is up. Rob, let's get to it. And I'm going to start off with question number 1. And I haven't asked any of the handicappers this question. But what I'm genuinely finding is that the majority of handicappers out there are from either Ohio or Pennsylvania. Is there a reason for that? I mean, I'm guessing that might have been the hub of, all the old guys, North Coast, Jeff Allen, Steiner, all these guys. I don't know. I mean, is there a reason?
Yeah, it's hard to say, Prez, but that is true. When I first got to Las Vegas in 1991, I lived there 11 years, moved out in 2002. Even the sports book directors were mostly Pittsburgh and Ohio guys. Everybody I met was from that general area, down to runners. I was good friends with a runner for a couple of big groups, Kosher Boys and another one. But there was a very, very high percentage. And I played softball with a lot of those guys, Johnny Avello and Vinny Magliulo, sportsbook directors for a long, long time in Las Vegas, are New York guys. But aside from them, boy, when you start with the Jimmy Vaccaros and a guy I was in business with, Muggsy Muniz, who was maybe the most popular race book director, horse race director for Coast Properties at the time. All Pittsburgh and Ohio guys. It is kind of crazy.
Yeah, and you'd think it would be from Las Vegas more, but it's just not the case. Although a lot of the handicappers have obviously moved there, like Teddy from Michigan or New York, and Marco and Brian Koken from Boston, Provincetown area. Gorgeous, gorgeous place. Rob, I've been asking every handicapper how they got into the industry. I got a call from the CEO of WagerTalk today, Rick Alec. He's like, I'm sick of hearing how everybody got into this industry. So I will dedicate the next question to Rick Alec. Rob, how did you get into this industry? And while you're talking, I'm going to go close the door.
All right, Prez. Yeah, somewhat by mistake. I guess I moved to Las Vegas in 1991 as a ceramic tile man. Believe it or not, my dad ran a ceramic tile business for 45, almost 50 years, and I was part of that for 17. Coming from Connecticut, Fairfield County, Connecticut, at that time, the housing market sort of went down and there was not a lot of work. So I moved to Las Vegas in search of a ceramic tile job. And it was at the exact time of the Gulf War, Prez, January of 1991. People weren't really hiring. And I ended up, believe it or not, in a boiler room, very naive, cold calling people. I was in a boiler room of a guy who was very good friends with Jeff Allen. So I had been inside that boiler room as well. And I just wasn't cut out for that style of business. Some people are, and I've seen it at its worst. I've seen the guys who make money. Jeff Allen in particular is a.
He went to jail, right?
Yeah, he used to actually call my boss when he would have one of these big, hyped up, ridiculous amount of stars plays, and he would call my boss who followed sports to ask him what he should put people on, and not necessarily that he put everybody on the same play, but he would sort of weight it that way. So he really wasn't a sports guy. And that entire industry, Prez, I could tell you stories, but it would take too long on this broadcast. But I found my way out of that and found my way into a weekly newsletter. I started in bowl season of 1992. I started to write my own newsletter, which ended up growing to the point where it was on sale in 33 casinos up and down the strip. So that's basically it. I went out there as a ceramic tile man. I wound up in a boiler room. From there to the newsletter. And from there, the rest is history. I mean, I made a couple connections. I had people that helped me along the way develop connections. But, hey, before you knew it, I was actually twice in the Stardust Invitational. That was probably the most prestigious contest at the time, inviting 16 of what they considered top handicappers across the country into a man-on-man tournament till the final man was standing.
Rob, I got to cut you off. I just want to let you know Rick texted me. He felt your answer was boring, man. Like, he's just not vibing with the how did you get into the handicapping industry question. David Chan, thank you.
Were there any exciting answers, Prez? Were there any exciting answers?
I have an exciting answer, but I'm going last. Teddy's going to interview me.
Nice.
Sometime during the summer, where we can talk about my stories. But how I got in the handicapping industry, I find exciting. David Chan, thanks for the comment. 100% right. Funny Thing Comedy. Welcome to the show, man. If you've got any jokes, let us know. Rob, you are one of the best, period, in all sports. And I'll tell you something, this COVID situation from a revenue perspective affected you greatly. You were absolutely rolling going into this time period. I mean, your 2019 was absolutely incredible. So, how are you feeling about that? I mean, how do you just, put that run on hold?
Yeah, that was tough, Prez. Glad you mentioned that because 2020 has been really good, and it was good in every area. To be shut down like that when you're on any gambler, any handicapper, sports bettor, however you want to describe it, knows that when you're in a zone where things, and a lot of things have to go your way, Prez. You don't win everything the way you drew it up on paper. Sometimes you win lucky at the end. And when it's going that way, you hate to have it end. Coronavirus did shut me down, but the numbers were outstanding at the time, and we want to pick them back up as soon as we get back to it here. So hopefully 2020 continues on the way it started.
Yeah, no, I'm with you there. Hey, Brian Leonard has just joined us, which greatly appreciated, Bri. Thank you.
Can I give you a Brian Leonard story real quick? Good friend of mine.
Well, he just wrote that Rob is the real deal, highly thought of. So I was just going to mention, I hope Brian's got a chance to cut his hair, because I know he was complaining about that earlier. But a hell of a head of hair for an old man, that's for damn sure. Give us a Brian Leonard story.
It'll be short and sweet. Of all the people that I've met along the way, and all the people on the WagerTalk and Sportsmemo rosters, as far as handicappers or even up at the top of the organization are concerned, one person has actually babysat my children. That would be Brian Leonard, who his wife actually went with my wife and I one night to a country music concert in Las Vegas.
Concert?
No, it was Alabama at the time.
You guys weren't swinging or anything.
We weren't swinging, but Brian has a disdain for country music.
So does the Prez.
And refused to go. Yeah, so you might have babysat my kids that night too, Prez, because Brian refused to go, but his wife likes country music, so the three of us went. And Brian I've known for quite a long time, since the mid-'90s, so great guy. Ultimate respect for him, and as well as a lot of guys on the staff here.
Brian and I actually bonded a little bit on Meet the Experts. He was on a couple of weeks ago, and he had no idea me and him liked the same music. So I am with him 100%. I mean, the country music is god awful, in my personal and humble, even though I'm the most arrogant, narcissistic man, the side of, I can't mention because politics aren't allowed. Rob, you're on sportsmemo.com. When did you join the site? When we bought it, you were one of the top sellers on there. Did you get a chance to work under Tim as well?
I was good friends with Tim. That's really, I've been there since the inception. The only person that beat me to Sports Memo was Tim's original sidekick, Brent Crow. And the two of us, actually, I had a radio show and newsletter in Las Vegas, and Tim and Brent had a radio show, and Tim had a newsletter in Las Vegas. I met Tim in Kinko's, having our newsletters printed one night. And from there, Tim and I developed a real good relationship. I did a lot with him. So I've been with, at the time, Prez, I think it was called the Las Vegas Sports Line. It was a morning radio show that we were on from 7 a.m. to 9 a.m. that I ended up doing with Tim. He gave me a 5-minute segment on college football, spring practice of all things. And when we hung up the phone, he said, "Hey, that was a great 5 minutes. How about we do this full time?" So I was with Tim for since the inception. I would say that's about 1996, 97, maybe at that point in time.
Wow. You've been doing this for a while. Rob, when people buy your plays, let's say they're an all-access customer, what are they going to receive? How many? What type of volume are you? What type of analysis do you write? And then the question after that will be, what kind of handicapper are you?
All right. Well, there's three stages. I'll start with the latter, Prez. First and foremost, I consider myself a fundamental handicapper. I'm probably more about in football the 22 that are on the field, the matchups. From there, I go to situational. I have very, very little technical handicapping incorporated into mine. I just, trends for me, Prez, are what's current that season or what's current under a coaching staff that's been in place at a certain for a certain team. Otherwise, these trends that date back, I just don't have a real use for them. But fundamental situational, I have a lot of use for. As far as volume is concerned, I'm probably on the higher end of most guys. I just don't fall into that category that believes the more you play, the less likely you are to win. I mean, very simply, Prez, if I see it, I play it. If I see it clearly and like it, I play it. I will bet what I play, as most every handicapper will tell you. I love the analysis part of the handicap. I love doing shows, broadcast, radio, podcast, whatever. I feel like I can get a lot more out in that amount of time. By verbally, I can get a lot more out than I can in written word. I wrote a newsletter for a lot of years, and it's a lot of work. Kudos to Rick Alec and Goldsheet. I mean, the work that they do for so many years.
Bruce and Glenn, yeah.
Bruce Marshall, yeah.
But
those
Ralph,
guys are
dude,
incredible.
I mean, Ralph is a writing machine. I mean, a one-man writing god.
I would throw Teddy in that category. Teddy works constantly. There's times when I'm online at 2:30 a.m. Eastern, and Teddy will be like, "Go to bed, dude." So we see each other
Rob,
on there.
Do you know who writes more than any other handicapper at both WagerTalk and Sportsmemo?
Honestly,
Tony
I don't.
Finn.
He's a good man.
Not
He's a
even
good
close,
man,
dude.
Tony Finn.
It's just not even close. He's a weird, strange man. We've actually renamed him Tony Exotic. He is literally the Tiger King of the handicapping industry. By the way, Brian Leonard takes full credit for your children, your two sons, growing up successfully. Just wanted to...
I said to my wife, Prez, if I knew that we were going to have a drummer in a successful band and another son who actually has ties to you guys, because my youngest works on Daily Wager, where Cheetah is one of the lead analysts. So we got ties to that. But if I knew they were going to turn out like this, we'd have kept having them, Prez. I would have gone for, 5 or 6.
And what are your boys' names? Not that anyone cares, but I do.
The oldest is Nicholas, and the youngest is Robert.
So Rob, when people buy your plays, they're getting analysis, but it's not a ton, right? I mean, you tend to spend most of your time on these podcasts and shows.
I do. I feel like if people are listening to me, they'll know. I've always had this thing in my mind, Prez, ever since I started doing this, that if I could just give somebody one thing that they didn't know before they tuned in, that's good. The written end of it, I'll tell you the problem I find with long, detailed write-ups or even short write-ups is that line movements happen so quickly. Like, I feel like our first objective is to get these plays at a certain price to the people who have paid long-term, to the monthly, to the...
Rob, you there? Rob Veno just froze. He is under a tornado alert in his area. We are reconnecting to Skype as we speak. And I'll tell you, when this happens, it's amazing because you listen to these guys, these talk show hosts, whether it's Alan Shine on Mad Dog or Jim Rome or whatnot, and sometimes they're doing these 2-hour segments where there's no callers, no nothing. It's literally just them. And it is really hard work. It's very hard to talk without a guest, so I much respect to those guys. I don't know. Rob just texted me. I apologize. This place just lost power. He is coming back on. So guys listening to the show, any movies you're thinking I should watch, let me know, please. I think I'm going to watch The Gentleman tonight with Matthew McConaughey. I've actually been watching a bunch of the John Grisham movies. I watched The Firm. Obviously, I've seen them all again. They were outstanding. But Rob Veno is rebooting, and until he does, we have no Rob Veno. And also, Carm just texted me saying if anybody wants him to make a video on any particular dish, let him know. He's capable of making stuff that is not only Italian. Carm just watched the movie yesterday. Incredible movie, Carm. A feel-good movie. I loved it a lot. Come on, Superman. Who's going to take the time to watch Scarface? For Christ's sake, dude. That movie, we've all watched it 20 times already. And Underworld, I watched a bunch of the Underworld movies. My God, is Kate Beckinsale just magnificent. But I have not watched the latest Underworld movie. But I did watch The Widow with Kate Beckinsale. I did watch the Widow with Kate Beckinsale. I do highly respect. I highly enjoyed that movie. Guys, I'm going to ramble for a few more minutes and see if Rob does come back on. And then if he doesn't, we'll call it a show. But I do want to make mention that tomorrow's show is with Jim Feist. And Jim is not part of the WagerTalk team or the Sportsmemo or Gold Sheet team, but Jim is probably the most iconic person in the entire handicap industry of all time. He is, he had the longest show, sports gambling show on network television, which he hosted with Dave Koken. Scott Spreitzer took a turn with it, Big Al. And Jim had a bunch of 900 numbers in the sex industry. He's one of the most talented bettors you'll ever meet in your life. And although a lot of people speak very negatively of that era, they are correct. Look, Jim ran a boiler room, and I'm going to call him out on it tomorrow. So make sure to check back for tomorrow's show. I'm going to call this show because I can't get a hold of Rob, but I do want to give you guys the schedule for the week. Today, Drew, Martin, and Teddy looked at NFL season win totals. Great show. Teddy and Drew are amazing together. Carm, how to make sangria. Well, you know what, Abel, it's funny you ask. Carm makes an incredible limoncello. Not sangria, but yeah, Carm, let's get a limoncello video up and running. Sangria, I think, is probably pretty easy. Just cut a bunch of fruit, throw a bunch of rum, some Perrier or soda, and voila, you got sangria. So tomorrow at 1 p.m. Eastern is Drew Martin, Ralph Michaels, and Rob Veno if he can connect. So check that out. They're talking college football. Wednesday is the soccer show. And Johnny texted me today saying that can't be the name of the show. Yeah, Johnny, that's actually the name of the show. The name of the show is The Soccer Show, unless somebody else has a better name. Kane, you want to know what I'm cooking tonight? I'm making maple glazed salmon with Mexican street corn. I'm making it from scratch. It's one of my favorite dishes. I love corn though, but the Mexican street corn is the best. So yeah, I mean, that's pretty much what I'm making tonight. I cannot get hold of Rob Veno. I don't want to hear my voice anymore. I have a beautiful woman waiting on a couch downstairs for me. So my friends, I'm going to call it a show. My humble and sincere apologies. There was a tornado affecting alert in Rob Veno's area. We knew about it. We were hoping to be able to get this show done. We will get Rob back towards sometime in the next month or so, but we got a lot more guys still just for kicks. Kane, that's not bad. Carmine, Johnny, what do you think? Soccer show just for kicks? It's not terrible. We're going to be talking about the Nicaraguan Soccer League. Plus, we're going to look at the current standings in all the major leagues, EPL, Serie, etc., etc. Hey, Drew, want to come on the show and finish it up with me? Can't get a hold of Rob Martin. We can go 50-50. So look at me. I'm just like wasting time here. You know what? I'm going to call Drew. Let's see if Drew even answers, and maybe he can come on the show. We can do a quick Drew Martin interview. Because Rob Veno is gone, and Prez is not professional enough to yap by himself for an hour. It's ringing. Drew Martin, are you going to pick it up? Are you? No. Okay, boys, we're calling it a show. Thank you so much, everybody. Please check back tomorrow, 1 p.m. Eastern, for Drew Martin, Ralph Michaels, and Rob Veno as they talk college football. And make sure to check out my 3 p.m. show with Jim Feist. I love you all. It's so unbelievably appreciated that you take time out of your day to do this, to join us. Thank you, guys. Thank you all so much. Chris, I should interview you, you damn. Oh, you know what? Carm, you want to come on? Okay, well, I mean, listen, I got nothing to do. I'll bring you on, Carm. I'm calling you now, baby. Let's go, Carm. Let's talk. Okay, Chris, I should bring you on. Just listen to how excited you are about every damn show. Oh, do we have... Let's see how fast I can bring Carm into this. Carmine Bianco.
My friend.
Look at you. There you are, Carmine. Ladies and gentlemen, Carmine Bianco. Just waiting in the wings. Okay, Carm, let's just talk cooking. What's up next?
What's up next, cooking wise? Okay, well, I've got the limoncello one, but it's a 28-day process for everything to happen.
Nobody wants you to put that recipe on.
I'm best one, man. It's unbelievable. But,
okay, fine. Do a limoncello recipe, but I got to thank you personally for the lasagna. Dude, what are you betting these days? You bet more than anybody else that I personally know.
Listen, I got on Sunday putting out a free plays idea. Kelly sent me a message, and her and Minty video up and give everybody a play in Nicaraguan soccer on Sunday. What I thought was the best, a team that we scored some either betting for or against this team, we've won. The last one being, they were like a plus. They ranged anywhere from plus 130 up to like time, and they hit again. I put that video up. We had about 10,000 retweeted
Carm,
it, and it won.
Brother. We got Rob Veno calling back, but I'm not going to lose you. We're doing this three-way. Rob?
Oh.
I'll call you back right now. Oh, my God. What a mess. But look at Prez. Look at Prez working this all out. I'm going to bring Carm back on. I'm going to bring Rob on. We're going to do this. I'm actually very impressed with myself right now, to be honest with you. Okay, I'm bringing Rob Veno back in, and then Carm. And yes, Rob Veno, hold on 1 second.
Hello, Carm.
Hey, Rob. It's good to know you're doing well there. I know you got some really bad weather. And
that one shook the house. Yikes.
So it's not good, and I'm kind of looking forward to, knock on wood, he's returning. And I usually follow you. It's a tough act to follow on fantasy sports when you're on before me.
That's a fun deal.
It is. I actually prefer going on before you because I feel the show gets much smarter as it goes. It's a step down when I fill in for you. I have to give it to you, man. I listen to the show, and your level of knowledge is just unbelievable on these college football shows.
Oh man, I appreciate that, Carm. Thank you.
I think Carm,
I will say this.
Why are you angling here? Firstly, your video is frozen, but your voice is coming across good. What are you angling for? Are you going to knock him up for a loan or something?
No, I'm good. Not hurting. I don't want to sound I'm not hurting for money. I'm as a matter of fact, it's great. I've got some great friends. Lawrence, you got they're friends of yours as well who have stepped forward. I put an initiative forward to get food to our first line of defense, if you want to call them, and frontline staff at hospitals, police stations. I did something on Friday. I'm doing something this week with 3 nurses, a ton of food delivered, and I post this stuff, and some of our friends come forward.
I just want to, firstly, can you move to your left, please? That's number one. And secondly, guys out there, your left, Carm. You move to your other side. Go more. Okay, good enough. I'm sick of you. Rob, I want you to know that Carm on his own accord took all his handicapping revenue from the month of March, the entire amount, and bought pizzas and panzeratos for our frontline staff. He went to some police stations on Friday, delivered it. So, I mean, I'll tell you, it just doesn't get much better than Carm.
Yeah, see, the world needs more people like that. That's what they need.
It not to into it, but I will give grassroots thing to my brother, because my brother lives out, which is about an hour, the Prezman IR, and he literally sent a bunch of food, made a deal with a pizza place, and was sending it to frontline staff everywhere. And when he posted about this, and the places were posting pictures, he got a ton of messages from people who either worked with them, for him, and they started donating. And they literally have gotten somewhere between 600 to 800 pizzas delivered in Guelph to hospitals, care centers, just everywhere. It's unbelievable. So I just
fantastic, absolutely. Fantastic.
Karma, stay on, dude. We'll go 3 ways. I mean, at some point you might want to move to your left so people actually see you, but I don't care. I see you all the time.
I don't know what's wrong with the camera. It's the camera. I'm not really sure what's going on with it.
Rob Veno, before your tornado hits, and please be safe, can you give us all, and I've asked everybody this, just some advice on how to win? I mean, everybody's to know parlays, don't buy half points, low volume, et cetera, et cetera. Do you have anything that, somebody might not necessarily think of but might not be common sense on how to win as a sports bettor?
Yeah, I'm not sure with the amount of guys that you've had on already, President, I would be saying anything original. I'm a firm believer in the don't force, not just for action, that type of thing. So many guys get run out of the park because they have to have action. They want to have a play. And even though I'm fairly high volume, I'm not of that ilk. I don't play things just for the sake of playing them. I'm able to eliminate games that you don't feel strongly about. I'm not a parlay player by any means. Unless it's just to goof off, I'd probably find myself more in line with it. Sometimes bets, Prez, and totals. And you just have to play what you believe in. I mean, it's an inexact science. If there were any correct answer, and one of us had it, then, we'd be off making money every single game. But it's a very inexact science. I don't fault anybody for the way that they go about it, but I do think that there are certain restrictions that you would be against as far as my personal betting is concerned.
For the guys who stayed on while we had all that technical difficulty, lost Rob Veno. I just talked by myself for 3 minutes. Then Carm jumped on. Now Rob's back. I really appreciate you guys being here with us. So thank you. Rob, do you bet your own plays?
Absolutely.
Do you bet
absolutely.
More
I
than
think
your
that's
own
first
plays?
and foremost. If I bet other people's advice, the answer would be no. As much respect, guys in this business, I just don't, and sometimes, Prez, when you're on a show with another, you have to try your best.
Yeah.
Not to be swayed out of your line of thinking sometimes. Guys can be very in this business when you have so many knowledgeable people as WagerTalk and Sportsmemo have. Sometimes there's a disagreement if you're talked out of it. So I kind of stick to what I like, although I respect everybody's jump and play something. Unless somebody gives me a call that says, Rob, that's a different story. But
Rob, your audio's in and out.
Much my own guy.
We get the just Carm. I know all about your betting, and I know you bet your own plays, but I also know you bet a lot of plays. Tell us about that. I mean, you're a betting machine, and for all the people, Carm, for all the people who have come on here and said no parlays, let's be honest here, Carm, you're a parlay machine, and you win them.
Yeah, they're not big parlays. I have to advocate at all times bankroll management. This is why I like the WagerTalk way of doing things, 3, 4, and 5%. And the parlays are like prop bets. So whenever it's treat these as a hand. You can parlays are bankroll killers. Absolutely will kill your parlay. Yeah, they're fun. They're great if they hit. But the thing is, the worst thing that can happen to you when you start betting is that you hit your first 2 or 3 parlays, because then you have this false sense of reality that parlays are going to make you money, and they aren't. They really aren't. But in speaking about volume, soccer is my biggest volume. Last year at WagerTalk, I put in from January 1st to December 31st of 2019, I put in 802 selections on WagerTalk. That's a lot of soccer. And on top of those 802 plays, I'm watching these games, and I'm in-game wagering a lot of money to be made in it.
Yeah.
I know, Prez, we've talked about it, and I think Johnny's talked about it. I would love to, when this world returns to normalcy, is to do a live betting show. Soccer, I understand what you're saying.
That, Carm, yes.
And I understand what you say. Not a lot happens in soccer. It's not what is happening at a time in soccer. It is what the line is in the game, the 10, 15-minute mark. Anyone who bets live odds on a game, wonder why they look for familiar from one game to another, where a team is minus 450, goes down to 334, goes down to 250, goes to 225, and then they're 165. Those are based on time minutes. Bet 365 at certain times in the game. If there's been no movement in the score, adjust the line. It's almost an analytical thing. And if you can figure out how to get on both sides of a game, getting plus money, this is what it's about. I used to do that before they left the Canadian market, and before I came to WagerTalk, I was literally greenboarding games. And greenboarding is, in a week, I'd probably have total, but I was the bookie for 2 of the 3 sides. The side that had value. When the game started, I would offer up odds on the draw and on the other side.
Yeah, Carm, just one sec, brother.
Who won?
Kane asks, what do you do, so to speak, when two guys are on the opposite side at WagerTalk or at Sportsmemo? And Kane, it happens. I'm telling you flat out. I mean, Rob Veno and Carm can attest to this. Rob might like, Duke over Kansas, and, Teddy might like Kansas over Duke. And it goes back to what Rob was talking about. One person's a technical handicapper, the other person's a situational handicapper, et cetera, et cetera. My suggestion is if you do buy two of our experts and they are against each other, just don't bet the play and email our customer support line, and we will refund your purchase in wager bucks plus maybe a little extra. So that's sort of how I would handle it. Guys, I don't want to do much more of the show because we are having sound issues, and it's could be on my end. It's a shitty day in Toronto. Rob, the one big question that everybody has, especially Carm, is how does your hair always remain so perfect?
I think, a long time ago, Prez, originally on one of your shows, I was 4 years old. Carm, you can, I don't know, maybe you have somebody with the same story, maybe you too, but as an Italian kid in the 60s, my dad drove me to Rocky's barber shop and said, give him the Princeton. Combed and cut the same way. I'm going to be 59 years old in October. So you're talking about 50 plus years of the same exact hairstyle. So it just falls into place, Prez. I mean, when I wake up in the morning, it doesn't look like this. When I go out in the wind, it doesn't look like this. But if
so,
my dad, 3 blocks from my house, when growing up, there was a barber shop called Dominic and Joe's, and the funny thing is, and then one of them moved away, but still close by, and every haircut I would get done there. Now, obviously, I don't. Joe. He's about a 30-minute drive away, and I go to his barber shop and I get the Italian, the almost like the old school mafia thing where I lay on me, they bring out the straight razor, and I literally get a straight razor shave and thing, and it is the best thing, best feeling in the world. And they put that
it's a good thing we
that
don't
stuff
have
on
Marco
later
on, because we don't want to hear his 7-minute story about his damn haircut. But I obviously go to Shlomo and Schlickstein down the road for my haircuts.
You need some just for me.
Rob.
I saw
shut
your
up,
video.
Guys following me at Prez WagerTalk, I put a challenge up. Rob, I don't know if you checked my challenge out. I put a challenge up on Twitter. I used to be a break dancer. I don't know how crazy. I actually was in a troupe. Yep. My name was, are you ready for this?
Wow.
My breakdancing name,
I'm interested.
No joke, was Mr. Cool. I named myself that, but it was Mr. Cool. My basement was all cardboarded. I used to come home and practice the breakdancing moves. I was in a troupe. We would break dance at auditoriums, at weddings, and all. I mean, I was a serious hardcore breakdancer. So I put up a breakdance move called the freeze up on my Twitter. You guys, if you got to check it out. It's the video of me doing it, and I challenged a lot of the handicappers to try it. Not one single person tried it, and that includes you, Carm. Why?
I'll do it, but I was unprepared at the time, right? I just finished eating a tray of lasagna. I'll challenge you to something. I literally
stated that if Marco could pull off the freeze, I would shave this delicious head of hair. And I will keep to it. I will shave my head.
You're
Marco
such
can pull the freeze off.
You're such a creative guy. You have just an unbelievable, and yet you came up with the names like you own like an air conditioning company. Like, what the hell is
no,
Mr.
Carm,
Cool?
Because my idol in life has always been Arthur Fonzarelli, and that's not John Tortorello. That's actual Arthur Fonzarelli.
Yes.
And I always felt like I was just the coolest. So if I consider myself Jesus Christ, I'm the Prez now. I went from Mr. Cool, my poker name. What's my poker name, Carm?
The Lord Dude, isn't it? Or something like that?
The Lord Dude, Rob. So I went from Mr. Cool to the Lord Dude to the Prez. Come on. It's all in keeping with my narcissism, is it not?
I need to know if you executed the move on YouTube and Twitter. Can you still do that move?
Well, I actually was going to do the forward worm today and post it up on my Twitter feed and challenge you guys to the worm. Carm, do you think you could pull the worm off?
I know for a fact I cannot do the worm. I would look like, those weebles that they wobble, but they don't fall down. That would be me. I would. No, I'm not doing the worm.
Yeah. So we got two Italians and a Jew. They walked into a bar. Both Italians turned to the Jew and said, "You paying?" I just made that up, but it's not bad, right?
Hey, Rob, did you ever hear the story of Voodoo Lounge and dinner? The Prez hates the story, but the WagerTalk staff were all
It's in keeping with my personality. I'm the Lord Dude.
The WagerTalk staff were all having dinner in there, and Kelly and I were drinking some wine. They brought out our food, and the Prez is the last one served. Thankfully, he's the last one served. I can't eat this. This is not warm enough. He's looking for the waitress. She's nowhere to be found. He eventually picks up his full plate, walks into the kitchen, and all you hear him is he starts yelling at the staff in the kitchen. I can't eat this. If you're going
to charge me $70 for a piece of meat, you deliver it the way I want it delivered. And I'm not going to sit around waiting for the waiter to come back so that the meat goes cold and has to be put on longer. Screw that. You charge $70, you get my meat right. And Carm, that's nothing. Nothing compared to my scrambled, my egg stories. My egg stories are way worse than that, Carm.
Yeah, his egg stories. Once in Montreal, just before the World Poker Tour tournament, there's a breakfast place right in the casino, and this is what he says to the waitress. And he orders the exact same thing. He goes, "I want my eggs over easy. I don't want them runny. If I see the white is runny, you're going to send it back. I want my toast lightly browned. My pancake, I do not want my pancake at the same time. What you're going to do is you're going to watch me, and when I wave over to you, that is true. You can have the chef start to cook the pancake for me so it arrives at the table nice and warm." And I'm just thinking to myself, they're going to spit in his food.
It's just more flavor.
It sounds more like the demands of
Rob,
a kidnapper.
what's your favorite Italian dish?
Well, I do have a tradition. On New Year's Day, I always have ravioli. I think Carm mentioned lasagna. It's so funny because we had lasagna yesterday as well. So maybe a lasagna taste test between what we're having here and
minus 800 on Carm, Rob. No disrespect to you and your wonderful wife, but no chance.
No,
Rob,
I don't mind being the dog.
I keep telling Marco, if we can have a WagerTalk sports memo party in Vegas where we all meet up, I am more than happy to, at his place, prepare food for everyone.
So I thought you were going somewhere else there, Carm. I thought you were like me, get the three Italians to have a cook-off. And I'm sitting there thinking to myself, Marco doesn't cook because he eats all the ingredients.
Now.
Poor Marco.
Marco knows his food. He took me to an Italian place there, an old school Italian place last time I was there, and it was absolutely unbelievable. they brought out these veal chops, which were the size of like someone's head. I couldn't believe it. The food was unbelievable. The man knows his food, I'll tell you that much.
You know what the Lord Dude's favorite Italian dish is? Maria. I'm on fire today with my comedy.
Yeah, it reminds me of when we did the show with Joe Ranieri.
That was my favorite show of all time, Rob.
In summary,
in summary,
or to summarize,
that was, oh my God, dude, that was the best. I miss doing shows.
That
with
really
you,
was.
Rob. Guys,
that really was a great show.
Thanks for staying with us. Make sure to hit the bell so you know when we're doing these live shows. Rob, you want to talk about sports betting for 2 minutes and then we'll call it, or you just want to keep talking shit? I love talking shit. Shit's my thing, baby.
It's your show, Lord Dude. I'm here as a guest. I'm the only guy
on this call that likes shit so much I got a bidet. Bam! Another one. And I actually do own a bidet.
We need to start some type of a movement to get Prez to update his picture on WagerTalk. Because I think that was that picture was taken during his Mr. Cool days.
Yeah, well, you know, it's funny. Mark Lawrence, who actually will be on Meet the Experts the following week, he uses his picture from when like 30 years ago. So I was like, what the hell? Plus, I look so good on that picture. But yes, Carm, we will do an updated version of the Prez picture this week. But I would like from now on to be referred to by you as the Lord Dude and by Rob as just simply Mr. Cool.
Mr. Cool is good. I can live with that.
So Rob, what music do you like?
Here another hour because I'm all over the board, Prez.
What's your favorite
I am all
band?
over the board.
One band, period.
Oh, goodness gracious me. I probably, you know what? That's a hard, I'd rather actual bands. I mean, if it's not opera,
You're an
that much
opera
about jazz.
fan?
If it's opera, I'm out.
Oh, thank God.
Jazz, but every in between.
Okay.
I'm there from, I mean, most recently, within the last 5 years, my album by the Black Keys, El Camino. So I like the Black Keys at that point. If I go back a ways in college.
That's a talented band, bro. What about your son's band? What kind of music does he play? And, the Jewish people use a word, nachas. Nachas. I don't know how you would spell it, but it's when you get inner warmth. You know, you watch your son play drums, it gives you nachas.
Oh.
So do you have that feeling when you go watch your son, and what kind of band, and do they have a hit, or are they just literally spinning their wheels on their dad's payroll?
I do get the nachish or whatever it was called. Whenever I see my son play, I try to fight it back at times, Prez. But as the drummer, he takes the stage first, and the rest follow. Anything they play, obviously, as his dad, is my favorite right now. They're an up-and-coming band, Scale,
So,
Gray.
What's the name
Scale,
of the
they're
band?
working on their Grayscale, Gray.
And can we
Scale,
find their stuff
Grayscale.
on Spotify?
Absolutely.
I'm going to listen
they're all
to
over
it
the
tonight. So
good deal.
So Carm comes to my poker game every 2 weeks. We haven't had one since COVID, but the last poker game he drank a little bit too much wine, and he basically chanted for blind guy, whatever, Botticelli, ravioli, spaghettino, whatever his name is. This bunch of rhyming vowels.
We had music playing, and I
He like
who was in charge of the music,
whatever the hell, Nosen Poo Poo, whatever that stupid song is. I mean, it was incessant.
No, it's
Norsen Dorma.
Un Dorme. Or Bocelli does it now. Bocelli put on a concert yesterday, which was fantastic on YouTube. I'm sure you.
Okay, that was not very politically correct.
That was bad. That was have some eyesight.
I'm losing my
Bocelli.
shit, dude. We got to call this show before I start getting into politics.
Don't do it,
Yeah,
Perez.
No,
let's not go
I've
there.
been muffled. Guys, let's call it a show, man. We made it to 1 hour, which is pretty impressive considering we spoke about nothing at all. Rob, I can't
It's like
thank...
Seinfeld.
Yeah, hey, I love
Show
Seinfeld.
about nothing.
I can't thank you enough for coming on, dude. And Carm, thanks for always being around. You're the guy that jumps in when Alex can't make puck time, which is every second day. And you jumped in now. Carm, we'll leave with this one last question from Twin Dad. Any free soccer plays today?
There's really no soccer today or tomorrow. I actually have a card up already for Wednesday, and I'm going to put a free play up soon. Video explaining what the free play is and why I
Twin
like
Dad,
it.
check Wednesday 3 p.m. Eastern. Carmine, Prez, and Nick Borman from Sportsmemo will be doing the soccer show. Love you all. Enjoy. Be safe. Make sure to stay on my Twitter. I'm going to be putting out ridiculous challenges on a regular basis. Today might be the worm. And I really would like to see you guys give this stuff a try, Rob. I will include you. Maybe you can do a backspin for us or something cool. And maybe you can put up a little bit of some grayscale for us.
Absolutely. I would love to do that. Never enough grayscale, Prez, as far as...
That's what we say in my house too, dude. Can't live without grayscale. Warwin 440 writes, great show, fellows. Go to check out Grayscale. Warwin, it was a terrible show, but that was my fault, the internet's fault, and Skype's fault, but I appreciate the kind sentiments. We will be back tomorrow, 3 p.m. Eastern, Jim Feist. Later, everybody. Be safe.